So let me first show you how the screen will look for this automation and how we are going to automate this. Just quickly open this site. So what we will be doing in here is we will be directly clicking on this cart value. First we'll add something into the cart manually. We'll automate the this UI also. But first let's start with the simple things. Let me add this to the cart. We'll also automate this, the size and the color and this option. But let's first skip this. So what we will be doing today is we'll be clicking on this card, clicking on this proceed to checkout. Once we have this checkout screen, we'll be entering all the details like the email address, the first name, the last name, company, street address, city, state, province. This is a code, country, phone number, and the shipping method. And then we'll click on next. And on the next screen, we'll have an order number, and that order number will be our output, and that will be storing in the file. So this is our input file. We have one order. We have the email address, first name, last name, the company. So all the inputs are provided here. Street address, the zip code, the number, flat rate, and the order number. So here we'll have this output. Let's get started with Power Automate. Let's create our first flow. Let's rename it as create orders. Let's create. Now once we have the Power Automate screens, here I tell you this is the actions which we basically use to automate the things. And on the right hand side we have the variables, input output variables. Basically when we start a flow, the control room, or we can say a cloud flow that we will be covering in later part. Today for the first flow we'll be covering only the Power Automate desktop. Then we have the attributes, the UI elements which we create during our automation to fill a web automation field or clicking a button or selecting the values from drop. Okay, so let's start. So first uh, action in our automation will be to read the input file. So always prefer to call only the subflows on the main page or the main flow. Always have a subflow for any item. So let's say we have to read the input file. Let's name it read input file. Save. We'll be making use here the Excel and only the web automation, and we will be covering some parts of the variable also. So read input file. Let's first read the Excel. Let's enter Excel here and it will sort all the Excels. And let's say we have to launch the Excel. So let's drag and drop this onto the subflow. And here we have the inputs. So what we want to do is we do not want to launch a blank document. Instead, we have a document saved at our local and we want to open that file. Now here we can enter the document path where our file is saved directly. Make instance visible means if we want to make the Excel visible. Making the Excel visible sometimes make the processing slow, but this time let's make it visible. Open as read only. Let's say the Excel is being used by multiple users and we only have to read it, so we can mark it as read only. Now in the advanced section is whether we want to nest it under the new Excel process that Excel is already open and we want to nest this Excel under that process. There we use this symbol. If we want to read the password protected file, then we enter the value here. So these are the parameters. On error we'll be discussing about on error later in our later videos in depth. Currently let's enter a path here, but let's create a variable for the path. So here we have a variable. Let's make use of it. Let's name it as input file path. It's always recommended that we do not hard code any value into our automation. Always use variable instead of hard coding so that it will be easier to the people will handling our code. So here we have the order file, we have set a path here, and in launch Excel, we can directly give the path here. So this is the sign of variable. We click on this X sign, we give the input file path and click save. Once we launch the Excel, let's read it. So here we have actions in the Excel, read from Excel worksheet. So here it will ask for the input, which Excel file we want to read the data from. So if you see in the launch Excel, we have an output as Excel instance. So here we give the Excel, which Excel instance we want to read the value. Then what value we want to read, a value of single cell, value of a range of cells, value from selected cells, or all available value from the active worksheet, and value of the named cells. So we'll give all available value from the worksheet. Now let's go to advanced. Get cell content as text. That means the value in the Excel will be treated as text, and first line of range contain column. So if we go in our Excel and we see the first row is our column. So we'll mark this as row. This is actually a boolean variable. Variable produces Excel data. So this variable is a data table where our value will be saved. Okay, from Excel. Then once we read it, we can close it. Let's search for Excel. We can also search for the close action. Close Excel or this one. And what input we have to give is the Excel instance, and it will also ask whether to save this document or not, or you want to save it as another, save it on another part. Let's select this, do not save the document, and let me close this Excel, and let's run it from here. And the Excel in the background, and it closed it. And when we see the Excel data in the variable, we have all the values as data table. We have all the values. Okay, let's close it. Now once we read the Excel data, what we want to do is to open our portal, Magneto Software Testing portal, and enter all the values. So let's create a new subflow with the name create orders. Create orders. Okay. So in here what we need to do is to first we have to launch the Chrome. But before that, we'll use the set variable action website. So let's use the set variable. Let's find it out in the variable section. Set variable action here. We have this website. Let's rename it as URL. Save. Now what we want to do is now launch the Chrome. So let's search for Chrome. Launch new Chrome. We can make use of Edge. We can make use of Firefox also. We just have to enable the extension. So launch mode is launch new instance, or our browser is already open, so we want to launch new instance. The initial URL what we have in our variable Windows state is normal, maximized or minimized. So let's make it maximized. Let's go to advanced. Clear cache if you want to clear cache during the launch. Clear cookies if you want to clear the cookies. Wait for page to load, how many times it has to load, if there is any pop-up, what it has to do, whether it has to do, whether it has to close it or press a button. Okay, and timeout for that. Variable pre-used is browser. Okay, let me close this browser as well. Let me run it from here. Okay, so it has successfully launched it. Let's go back to Power Automate. Status ready, it is completed. Now what we need to do here is let us add something into our card value. We'll also automate this size and color in more advanced version, but currently let us add a card value. So what our bot will do is it will click on this card value, it will click on this proceed to checkout. So let us spy this card button. So how do we do it is go to browser automation. Here we want to click link on web page. Launched it. It will ask which browser instance you want to work in and which UI element. There is no UI element currently. We will click on add element. Here it says hover the mouse over the UI element to capture until the frame appears around it. Then press click control plus left click to add here. So once we hover onto there, we see that this is an anchor kind of attribute, and we control and left. Okay, so attributes are generated. Let's go to advanced send physical click. That means you want to send a physical click with position it wants to click. You can set the position from here. But let's for now let's save it. Now once we click on the cart value, then there appears one more button which is proceed to checkout. Let's spy that too. I click on here and I just try to spy this. Since this is a button, we'll capture the button attribute. So control left. Now let's save it. Let's create a message box. Add the value into the cart. Add value to cart. So now let's save it. Let's close the browser and run it. So what this message box will do once it launches the Chrome, I will add a value to the cart, and then we'll click OK. After once we click OK, then only it will proceed. So it has launched. Like this. Once it is launched, there is a pop-up. Click OK once the cart is ready. So it will not move forward till this button is clicked. Set some t-shirt manually to the cart. So once this is added to cart, let us click OK and see it clicked on cart and clicked on proceed to checkout. Now since it is taking some time to load, so we will also have to apply some weight. Weight could be static or dynamic. Here we'll make use of the dynamic weight stages to appear this screen. So let's apply a dynamic weight stage here. Here the input is browser instance containing element. So we have applied here a dynamic weight stage for this email box to appear. Now we will spy all these elements and fill the boxes. And the UI automation can make use of it text. So first we have to fill the email address and which we have already spied. So we'll select this and let us enter the email as cars in advance. If the field is empty, it should replace the text and timeout maximum is 60 seconds. So not touch it and we'll see it in the later part. Now we'll fill another field for which we have to spy the element. Let's spy the element. Okay, and the username is save. This is the first name. Similarly, we do for the other elements. Let's enter the street address. Now, if you see, there is a drop down, and we want to select the value from drop down. Okay. For drop down, we have a different option. Select drop down plus value. So in order to read that value, let's go to web data extraction, get details of element on the web page. Let's make use of this element. Web browser instance is simple browser. Add the UI element which we want to read the data from, but since this order number could be dynamic, so it would change. So we need to make sure that the attribute of this order number should not include this number. Okay, I think these are correct. This will work. This is this. Okay, working fine. Let us save it. Now let us run it from here. But in order to run it from here, we need to first attach the browser if we want to run it from here. So let us copy this attach browser, and this time our tab title is different. You can also give wildcard here. For now, let's give it a success page. And now let's read this, run it from here. Let's go back and let's see. Okay, we have this value, but what we want to extract only the digit value. So in order to extract only the digit value from a variable, let's make use of the regex expressions. Must be into the text. Let's make use of pass text. So we have different methods to extract the digit value. First we'll use the, so what text we need to find is the only digit. For digit, the regular expression is /d. So /d will extract the first digit, but we want to extract all the digits, so we'll use plus sign. Is it a regular expression? Yes. Ignore cases, sensitive cases. And now let's run it. Okay, if we see here, the value is being extracted. Now we want to place this value into the output file. So let's create a new subflow. Store output. Save. Here launch the Excel. I will be making the use of this variable. So let's copy this variable, paste it here. In the following document, file path. Now we want to write the data. Write to Excel worksheet. Does the Excel instance? So does the instance 2? You see this is instance 2. Value to write is the match value. A specified cell. You can also give the cell address like named cells. Um, See, the position is M2. Let's give M2 here. Save. And lastly, close the Excel. And this time we want to save the Excel also. Save document. Save. Now let's call this subflow after we pass the value. Store output. Save. Let me use this Excel. Let's run it from here. Okay, like it is completed. Let's look for the output file. Okay, so order number is saved. Let's see our order number is. Okay, this is good. Let us load this Excel file. Okay, so this is how what we learn in here is how do we read the input file, how do we do the web automation, select the best attributes which are possible, and how do we store the output. Now also we have different methods to pass this text, like we pass it here. Let me know in the comment section below what are the different methods that we can extract this value. And like we in the order file we have this number 40566, but in here we have uh 44404056. Let me know in the comment section below how can we write initial 40 in the order number. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.